Hey, Cameron, I apologize. Basically, we had cut off. What was that question again you had asked me?
What were some significant? No. Did you ever participate? No. What were some significant moments that impacted you during the civil rights movement?
Well, basically, I think I already covered that. Basically, the seeing what was happening, different things was going on through the country. Basically, a lot of people are voting. I've seen certain black people got beat up and stuff like that, and then basically the biggest issue that churches was burned down. I mean, I remember the church that we went to. I grew up as a kid going to, which my grandpa Houston was a minister there. Back in the 20s. He was a minister at that church and so that same church I used to walk to when I was 4 years old, and it was very probably a lot of times we have our meetings there and everything. They buried my grandmother there, had a funeral there and different ones. And I attended my first funeral there in 1964, which I didn't know about death. Death was the biggest issue that I knew back then. But basically what happened is during that time, Kelsey, with boycott and everything, that store is one of the stores we indicated. And then a lot of time when we go down Meridian, there was certain stores that they didn't want black people to come into. The biggest issue that growing up as a kid that I knew, we used to take our clothes to the washer. And the washer, what we used to have the washer at, we'd go to the white man store, we had to wash our clothes. Sometimes we wouldn't have time to, a lot of time we did our wash in a tub and everything at home. But we used to go to this washer. And the washer for the white people, this side was white, this was colored. On the white side, they had a great big room where people had sets and things, and everything, and that felt very discouraging to me. They had big long lines, about 20, 25 washing machines for the white as well as dryers, and tables white people can fold their clothes on. On the side of the building is for color only. And they had colors, they had 6 washers, 6 dryers, and a little bitty table for you to fold your clothes on, and 1 chair for families had to wait in each other to wash their clothes. That was very disgusting. What time do you think you get your clothes finished? But when the whites go there, they wash the side. They go in there and they sit down and chill. But we got to take lines waiting for the one family. Well, come back in about 30 minutes. Come back in another hour or two. Then back. That's how we used to schedule. And that was really tough. As for the boycott, that's one of the things I remember as a kid with that store, Cameron, and But the different marches, everything we started on TV and all that stuff like that, the whole time, what happened in Memphis, all the burning down, remember 68, I think in New Jersey and all those big areas, they was burning down and everything. So yes, I saw the racism, how things was happening, the different stores, the place was burning down, especially churches. Our church got burned down a little bit before Martin Luther King, because what they would do is they burn a cross in your church. And my mom said, oh Lord, they're finna ready to burn our church down, because the black church was the mecca of black people at the time. I didn't know about too much about Jehovah's Witnesses, but I just knew that, my aunt, she was baptized in 62, and she used to bring the magazine, come to our house, she used to bring magazine. I said, my Aunt Letty, I said, why is she always bringing these magazines with the little capsule? And, I try to read it. She said, read it sometime, I didn't know what I was reading. I just read through it, just flipped through it, but I wasn't reading it, But I learned what it was all about. But as for that, Cameron, I saw a lot of things when it comes to boycott and everything. Certain stores we had to stop going into, in different things, but different marches. My mom, we didn't participate in that.
All right. So the next question. So basically, you just said that you didn't really participate in any boycotts and citizen marches, right?
Well, just the boycott of that store. That's the only store that we had. We stopped going there for a while. Until the owner saw my dad one day, said, "Why y'all not come to my store no more?" Well, my dad expressed to him how you treat my boy and everything like that. I didn't mean no harm. He was just a little boy. I was just, then he felt he didn't say he apologized, but he let him know that I want your business, because that's one thing he would. Now he did spank one black kid that lived in that area, but he didn't live that far with him. But that boy did steal from him, But this white man was a very prejudiced white man, and he was a Klansman. He was a Klansman, and then the man that my mother worked for, he was a Klansman, because he told my mother that those civil rights workers, he said, they'll never find those civil rights workers because they don't know, they have never found him, but eventually they did find those workers. But mother, man, we feel like that man was at that time when those when James Chaney and the other two white guys was killed.
Wow. All right. So next question: were you affected or influenced by civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X?
Yes, indeed. I mean, that was the most positive role model that we had at the time. First of all, I have to say John F. Kennedy, because John F. Kennedy really helped black people in the '60s and everything. He helped pushing. He came to Meridian, Mississippi, Philadelphia, and all that area, trying to get black people to vote. White people didn't like him, and everything, and so I never met him, anything like that, but he came to Mississippi, Meridian. Martin Luther King, he came to Meridian and trying to get people to vote and everything. Just heard about him. This is on TV, Malcolm X. I just knew that there was always an issue between Malcolm X, was brought on TV and what they would say to each other was kind of different. That was a tragic. I just knew about when what happened in JFK when he got killed in '63. I so well when the civil rights workers got killed in '64. I knew about, I saw those, that was the same year I heard about Sam Cooke was killed in California at the time in '64. One of the singers. At the time, one thing kept growing, and then after that, there was Martin Luther King got killed this day. That was a very sad day. When I was in the fourth grade that day.
Hold on, let me stop right there. So how did the assassinations of those civil rights leaders affect you, like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and also JFK, as you previously said?
Yes, that really affected me. Like I said earlier in my comments, I was only in '63. I was only like 4 years old when it happened. I had just turned 4. I know everybody was crying about this famous man had died. I just knew. All I was a kid, I heard about John F. Kennedy, what he did. I saw his pictures on TV and everything. I was a little boy, but I understand. I didn't click what was going on. I just knew he was a good man for black people. I experienced prejudice at a very young age. White people look at me and stuff like that and everything. And but yeah, the assassination of JFK was I saw this on TV. That was very, very sad. I remember another man that I remember was Oswald. They would always show his picture of Oswald, who killed Martin Luther King. Then, but this Jack Ruby guy who tried to kill him. That was a roller coaster of a situation in '63 that I recall was so fresh in my mind. '64, that's '63, '64, and then when I started first grade that year, that was that tragedy of my mind in '64. I started first grade in August of '64. That mind, what happened in June of '64, was very fresh in my mind, even as a first grader. What happened to that black man and those two white men? Those assassinations really, really bothered me. And then as I went to school, we heard about the other movements going on. Then in '60, we heard about it in '65. I think that's when Malcolm X got killed. I didn't know the full reason why he got killed, but he got killed. I didn't know about the Muslim or like that. That wasn't really familiar to me. But within that time frame, Martin Luther King really stuck out in my mind. He stuck out in my mind more than ever because I always see him on news, his speeches, free at last speeches and all that. As a matter of fact, I remember some Lakeland in '63 when he made that speech. When he made that speech on TV. I remember we had a black and white TV. I remember his speech. And then when he got killed in '68, that was a very sad day, and I was in the fourth grade when I saw that on the news that night. Everybody was crying. I was crying. Everything. I was so scared, And then that was the same year our church got burned down. Everything, all just '68 was a trauma situation. And then that day when Martin Luther King died, had his funeral, Miss Whitehead said, "We're not having class today, kids." She said, I want y'all to remember this day. Remember this day, this famous man that you all gonna have to know and learn about. And so we didn't have class that day. We were very silent in the room. We had a TV, 2 TVs there. They had set up. It was a black and white TV where we got to see Martin Luther King funeral. Yes, and that was and then that summer, that was in August of '64, and I came back home and they still showing the funeral with the muse pulling his wagon and everything. I came home. I started crying. I walked the door from school. It was so Cameron. That time was so depressing and so sad. As a kid, I tried to have fun with my friends and everything. But it was a sad time, man. It was a real sad time. You going to school, you see KKK written there all on the pavement, and you're going to school, and the white kids, nigger, we saying how you Peckerwoods and all that. We experienced all that stuff, man. And I just remember today, it's just how it was. And then too, that summer, I had a pretty good summer that year. And next thing you know, I was in Meridian, and then they came across the news that Robert F. Kennedy got killed. That was a sad situation too. That was really sad. When he got killed, I was real sad about that. They had this funeral on TV and everything. Oh, that 6 days was a drama for me. And then after that, we were all blacks going to school. I did very well in school, and then I had to. Basically, I want get the integration. I get that's going to come later on. But yeah, I remember that. That those were some sad times when that happened. When those 3 men got killed, that was very sad because Robert Kennedy was trying to run for president. I remember that so well, and everybody was hollering for him to win it. And when he got killed, it just took everybody became very depressed.
Okay. Next, did anyone you know or a family member serve in the Vietnam or Korean War?
No, I heard of people had graduated from high school and went to Vietnam. My brother in 1969, he was going to be he was so upset. In '69, I think he was a junior or a senior in high school, and they told me he had to register for the Army. And my mother cried. She would pray to God all the time that she hoped our baby didn't have to go to Vietnam. He had to sign up for the draft, but unfortunately, they didn't call him. They called some of the other guys in the community, but unfortunately, my brother didn't have to go. He was like 17, 18 at the time. Okay. He graduated high school in 1970. Go ahead.